Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at. This is Dr. Sanchez, and I am going to be reviewing the SHRM Leadership and Navigation competencies for the senior career professional. So the purpose is to provide the undergraduate and graduate level students with an overview of the senior career components of SHRM's competency model. And we've already discussed critical evaluation, and now we're discussing leadership and navigation, and then global and cultural effectiveness. So, like I said, hopefully you've reviewed the critical evaluation, and now we're on to the leadership and navigation. So, what's the learning objectives? It's describing the three SHRM competencies for the senior career levels, applying the concepts related to leadership and navigation competency to the key roles that HR professionals perform, explain the relevance of leadership and navigation competency to the HR practitioner, identify and explain the subcompetencies, which we do every webcast, analyze the role of leadership and navigation competency plays in HR professionals' real-world issues, and then apply the competencies in various texts. So here's the competency model, and we have talked about pretty much everything. In the blue, the red are the ones we have left. We've done critical evaluation. Now it's leadership and navigation. And that is the competencies for the senior career HR professional. So remember, it's our expertise, our knowledge is, of course, the functional duties of HR: compensation, benefits, talent management, performance review, training and development. And the competency model focuses on how we do that. So we need leadership and navigation in all of those functional areas. Again, the career levels are a senior and executive, usually having titles of director or principal with 8 to 14 years of experience in HR, and then 15 or more years usually as the vice president and beyond. All right, so what is leadership and navigation? And I'm sure most of you have had leadership positions because we're in HR and we have leadership positions by being a resource to everyone in the organization. It's the ability to direct and contribute to initiatives and processes within the organization. So what do? We create what is needed for organizational success, then provide opportunities for others to execute so they may grow. We motivate others to work toward a greater good, reinforce the value of their task, promote their capabilities, set their goals, and adapt to the changing needs of the organization and its employees with proactive initiatives. So let's talk about where we have leadership and navigation and an organizational success or an opportunity that others would need to execute. And I would like to discuss performance management. It is something that's needed for organizational success. Again, there's a little bit of debate about that, but we are usually the champions of it, and we provide opportunities for others to execute that so they may grow. We help managers to execute the performance management system. We teach them how to conduct a performance review, interview, do the review, coach and counsel, and hopefully we're motivating them towards that greater good and reinforce the values of their task in being a manager and conducting the performance review, and promote their capabilities and help set their goals. Adapt to the changing needs of the organization and its employees. It could be that maybe you're going to change from a traditional performance review program to a coaching and feedback performance setting, and not having a performance formal review. And a lot of companies are taking that path because they feel that their organization is changing and their employees are changing, and there's a new set of generations coming in that want daily and weekly feedback, and the performance review doesn't always lend it to that. So companies are now going to what they're calling check-ins, and that is part of human resources professionals providing leadership and navigation to all those new processes or proactive initiatives. That's just one example. So what are some of the examples also? Well, facilitate discussions about culture and future of the organizations, in which HR managers can develop their skills of visioning and influencing. So, we are supposed to be facilitators as well as consultative, and I discussed that in previous webcasts. But when we're talking about changing culture and the future of the organization, it's what kind of skills are needed today and will be needed from employees in 2 years. And so HR managers can help with developing that kind of vision and influencing it. Being a coach component in your high potential development program. If you have a HiPo development program where you're giving 360 feedback or any of that, you can be a coach, leader in that process. Create high profile stretch assignments for high potentials, and navigating through that and leading that, and encourage job rotation. All right, so what are the sub-competencies? Transformational and functional leadership. We've not seen this before in other sub-competencies, and I want to talk about that. Our organizations are transforming, and we also need to understand that transformational leadership within the organization and being out there promoting transformational leadership. Our functional leadership is obviously our HR practitioner knowledge, compensation benefits, talent management, performance reviews, all of that. But what happened in the 20th century is going to be different in the 21st century. And a lot of our HR functions are going to change. And I think it's going to be due to just this whole global change in the workplace. I mean, what's good for the United States isn't going to be good for the European nations. So it's really leading that transformation in the business objectives. Obviously, we need to be results and goal-oriented. Resource management, succession planning had not shown up in previous sub-competencies, but we need to lead the succession planning model. And it's been shown in past research that companies, less than 50% of the companies, use their succession planning model when they're filling directors and above. And so I think more and more studies have shown that really successful leaders are grown from within, especially those who have a very high culture or have a very definitive culture, such as Southwest and some of the .coms, also all of the companies like Google and Amazon, very, very entrenched cultures. And to take somebody from the outside and bring them in is very difficult. So succession planning is becoming more and more important because we need to grow our leaders from within. Project management is another one that we haven't seen in the sub-competencies. And this is important for HR practitioners because we lead a lot of projects. And to have those skills are important. Learning timetables, KPIs, all of that is extremely part of the project management skills. Mission-driven, change management. A big one is change management. Knowing what those steps are in leading a change. And that is extremely relevant for us HR professionals because organizations are changing constantly. And employees have a very difficult time understanding the changes, especially with all these mergers in all industries, healthcare, retail, restaurants. Political savviness, also extremely important, is really knowing the lay of the land. What in the organization is happening that's not being said? Who are those individuals that you need to partner with that can help with the human resources initiatives? Understanding how to approach leaders in a specific way, how to have influence with those leaders so that we can move the HR agenda along. And then a consensus builder. Not only having the debate, both sides, but also bringing people together and finding common ground to move initiatives in the organization forward. So, what does it mean to have leadership and navigation behaviors? You're exhibiting behaviors consistent with and conforming to an organizational culture. Culture is one of the most powerful things in an organization because most leaders don't make it when they come from the outside because of that organizational culture, the strength of that, and they don't want to learn it, and that's important. Fostering collaboration, we do that all the time in human resources. Understanding the most effective and efficient way to accomplish tasks with the parameters of organizational hierarchy, processes, systems, and policies. That's learning how to navigate through the organization to get things done. Develop solutions to overcome potential obstacles to successfully implement initiatives. That's the political savviness. Do you know what kind of obstacles you're going to have with a certain initiative? Do you know those individuals who are going to be champions for a particular initiative? And have you developed solutions for potential obstacles? Demonstrates agility and expertise when leading organizational initiatives and when supporting the initiatives of others. Agility and expertise means being able to change, to have synthesize information, to be an expert in your particular area, to lead organizational initiatives. So one of them may have been a performance management system and being really the expert and being agile in changes that may have to occur in the performance management initiative, whether going from a traditional performance review to check-ins, knowing how to flex within those two. Sets the vision for HR initiatives and builds buy-in from internal and external stakeholders. It's really important that HR initiatives support the strategic plan. So if you have a strategic plan that says cut costs 5%, how does HR initiatives meet those strategic plan goals? Well, it's reducing turnover, right? It is increasing retention. What else can cut 5%? Well, maybe it is letting those individuals go who have not been performing as well. Reviewing exit interviews to find out why people are leaving. All of those HR initiatives meet the strategic goal of reducing costs 5%. And what some HR individuals have difficulty doing is communicating that line of sight to leaders. All they think is that sometimes we just do all these initiatives and do this all day long. Why are you investigating certain things? Well, we're investigating so that employees, one, don't leave, or two, don't sue us. And that saves, in the strategic plan, 5% of the cost. So making that line of sight is extremely important. Leads the organization through adversity with resilience and tenacity. And I know all of us have done that in some way or another, because there has been a lot of adversity, and being resilient and tenacious is extremely important for us. Promotes consensus among the organizational stakeholders, employees, business units, when proposing new initiatives. We need to shop our ideas around the organization before we do a new initiative, or do a pilot program in one department that is supportive of your particular initiative. So let's say you're leaving the traditional performance management system and you're going to go to check-ins, and you think the employees like that, the marketing people like it, but the rest of them are kind of iffy. Well, then maybe do a pilot program in the marketing department because they seem like they have real buy-in, and then you'll get consensus. That's another example of how to bring leadership and navigation together, and serves as that transformational leadership for the organization by leading change. This is going to be one of our biggest jobs in the 21st century, is understanding the change, leading it, and being a transformational leader. And that's difficult because I know I particularly don't like change. I thought I used to, but as I get older, I'm not so crazy about it. But it's the way of the world, and I've got to get on board and be a leader within my organization. All right, so ways to develop the skills is become a mentor, seek opportunities to be a role model for colleagues. Find somebody who is the leader out there and who you think has got business savvy, political savvy. Sit with them and ask, how do they do that? Set up a meeting and discuss your goals with top level managers. That can be those departments that you're supporting, so that you understand what they want to accomplish and what you want to accomplish. Take initiative to discuss your ideas, beliefs, and opinions in meetings. And I would say shop your ideas around so that people aren't surprised. Create an individual development plan and work towards completing the appropriate learning experiences, including attending company training. Companies have leadership training most of the time, or seek out leadership training outside of your organization. Seek opportunities to create new action plans based on aspirations of the future. Volunteer to lead a project and take additional responsibilities if you feel they will be a challenge. And try innovative approaches to reach objectives. Get on a project that you think is going to be highly visible so that it will develop and stretch your leadership and navigation skills. Take the initiative, share your expertise. If you are an expert on employee relations, share that. If you're an expert in talent management, share that. Assist in the creation and organization of a project team to highlight the strengths of its members. That can be any kind of project team, whether it is an implementation of a new system, a sales system, a new safety program, any of that. Join a leadership board or committee. SHRM, local associations have leadership opportunities most of the time to be on their committees or on their board. And improve your self-awareness by recognizing your moods and emotions and their impact around those around you. So really understanding the people, and I think HR practitioners are really good at this. We have an intuition and understanding individuals, but also being self-aware of our own.